All right, good evening, everybody. It's already after Skia, so it's kind of dark. But here we are. And I wanted to make a follow-up to the video I made this morning because, on one hand, I was kind of embarrassed to admit, but I was honest, that I didn't have an opinion. I didn't feel comfortable with my own opinion, I should say, about last night's debate. I was very uncomfortable about it, and I was waiting for someone else to tell me how to think, which is not the type of thing I usually do. Not so much that I'm waiting for someone else to tell me how to think, but I wanted to get some perspectives to try to figure out what should I think about it. And my favorite of all the talk show hosts is Glenn Beck, but it's very hard to get a hold of his show these days. So I did not hear his take on it yet, although I probably will hear it tomorrow on YouTube, usually first thing in the morning. Like when I'm taking my shower in the morning or something, I'll listen to the excerpts from the Glenn Beck show on YouTube. It's something I tend to do pretty often. But we got something else going on here. But I got to listen to very little bit of Hugh Hewitt, very little bit of Rush Limbaugh, very little bit of Dennis Prager, and very little bit of Mark Levin tonight. I appreciate how Mark Levin said that he made sure not to listen to anybody else before he opened his mouth, meaning he watched the TV shows, but he didn't listen to the opinions of the other talk show hosts. But I'm not Mark Levin. I'm just a guy on YouTube who's driving to Walmart to pay my rent because I prefer to use money orders. But anywho, I do want to hear what others have said, and if I agree, I agree, and if I don't, I don't. And I happen to really appreciate, first of all, what Rush Limbaugh said, essentially to paraphrase him, was that if the media and the left don't show respect to President Trump, why should he show respect to them? But then the thing that Mark Levin pointed out was that although the president was defending himself, and he was every here and there interrupting, he was doing so on the defense and not on the offense. That's one aspect of it. And the other thing was that he never, throughout the entire debate, and it must have been very difficult to him, because just now I was on a little survey on the internet, and they paid me $5 to chat with a Democrat for 10 minutes, which was kind of fun. And I asked this person, we didn't exchange names, I don't know if it was a man or a woman. I asked, did you watch the debate last night? And they said no, because they were afraid it would turn into the shouting match. And I'll tell you, it got me in a pretty bad mood, that shouting match. I got cheered up a little bit with the Abbott and Costello show that was on at 11:30 at night. I didn't really go to bed till 1 in the morning. But it was a really good episode. I never saw this episode before, or at least not for a long time, because I know when I was a little baby, I would stay up till 3 in the morning to watch the reruns of the Abbott and Costello show, and my nickname used to be Mr. Bacha Galoop. That was my nickname when I was a little baby. One of the characters from the old Abbott and Costello show. But anyway, and that cheered me up, and I was able to somewhat sleep with a good mood. I didn't sleep very much last night, but I felt nice and refreshed all day today. Had a pretty nice day at work. But anyway, it did get me down. I was upset about how the debate was. And at first I was upset at the president, but when listening to especially Mark Levin, how he pointed out so many things that how the president was acting only in defense, never on the offense, and that he never called Joe Biden any names. And Mark Levin said he combed through the whole transcript of the debate to make sure that this was accurate. And that must have taken some restraint for the president to do that, because he likes to give out the names, as the person I was chatting with on this survey website pointed out. And here he didn't do that. And who was calling names? Joe Biden was calling the president names. He called him a clown, he called him a liar, he called him a racist, etc., etc., etc. And the truth of the matter is, of course, Joe Biden is the racist. The president brought that up briefly in what he said about how he called super thugs or something when he was talking about the crime bill and how the president helped get a lot of people out of prison. But the president should have been stronger on some of those points. As I said this morning, he should have brought up some more of the positive things. He should have. I didn't hear him bring up this issue of the what do they call it, the opportunity zones. Although I might have missed that, because I did miss a few minutes in the middle when there was my Wi-Fi went out for a little bit. But all in all, I'm feeling a lot better about this debate. Sean Hannity I also listened to, and he pointed out this was a real debate. This wasn't just a polite press conference. The other thing was that as both Levin and Limbaugh, they all pointed out, and Dennis Prager pointed out, that Joe Biden wasn't more polite than the president was. He just sounded more polite. He put on this fake demeanor, but Joe Biden is a really rude person. Something else I was thinking about today. I hopped after work. I jumped in the lake to toivel in the mikveh, because I hadn't been to a mikveh since Erev Yom Kippur. It had been a few days. I felt like I needed a mikveh. Try to go every day if I can, but I didn't go on Shabbos. I went Erev Shabbos, but I was feeling a little under the weather on Shabbos, and again I'd be going in the lake. But today I'm feeling really great, thank God. And while I was at the mikveh by the lake, I was thinking about this issue that I discussed in my other video this morning about the link between religion and culture. And at one point in the debate, Joe Biden said pretty much that, these rich guys like Donald Trump, they just like to pick on poor Irish Catholics from Scranton like me. And as I mentioned this morning, I watched a few videos from a YouTube channel called Church Militant, a Catholic YouTube channel. And I was discussing, certain things about what they had discussed on their show. But I came to a realization that, Joe Biden is Catholic because he's Irish, because he's of Irish ancestry. If he happened to be German, he would be a Lutheran, and if he happened to be from the other side of the big island that's next to Ireland, from England, he would be Episcopalian, and if he happened to be Greek, he'd be Orthodox, not because he believes in the dogma or the ideology or the theology or the apologetics of his church, but because of his culture. And so too, as opposed to someone like this website Church Militant, it's very obvious that this is a man of faith and not merely of culture. Somebody's calling me, so I better. And it's the same thing with Jews. And I think, I was thinking about Meir Kahana's comments about why be Jewish. and it should only be about Torah. It should be only Torah, only our apologetics and our theology. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. But most Jews are not for that. They hung up, but I should return their call. That would be the polite thing to do, wouldn't it? So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as I've discussed, and, I should maybe quote a little bit one of Meir Kahana's, even though I disagree with Meir Kahana on his Zionist ideology, obviously, but I respected him. My Zayda was a big fan of his, my Zayda Alav Shalom, and there was an article that he had printed in the Jewish press that he wrote. It was published in the Jewish press back in the 70s. I want to apologize. I don't like to use this term, but I'm quoting, and so it's in that context. And he was not saying this to be racist or to be disrespectful. He was saying this to bring out a point. The name of the article was called Goyim, Cholent, and Torah. And he says there's essentially 3 reasons to be Jewish. The old days, if you'd be afraid of a pogrom. It was the first reason, which I won't mention again, because I don't think it's very polite to use that word. That they were afraid of anti-Semitism, and there was really nothing. If you were, in some little village in Poland, there wasn't much of a competition there, culturally or something that you really wanted to maybe join the other culture. But the thing is, now we're in America, thank God, and we are friends with all the other nations, and we get along with them, and they're nice people, and they have beautiful culture, and we're not threatened by them in the way that we were by other people in the past. And so many Jews are comfortable with intermarrying with non-Jews. And the truth is, in my opinion, if you're not a religious Jew, I don't see any reason why would you be adverse to intermarriage if you don't have a religious reason for doing so. If it's only a cultural reason, that's just racist, and that's what Meir Kahana said as well, who everyone accuses of being a racist when he wasn't. He always says he doesn't hate Arabs, he loves Jews, and he wishes the Arabs well. And that's true. Meir Kahana was not a racist. He was a Zionist, and I oppose Zionism, and I disagree with him on that. But he recognized that he himself admitted that there are 2 different views on the subject. They're calling again. The second reason was Cholent, was the geschmack of the Jewish culture and the food and this and that. But the truth is, Italian food and Chinese food is better than Cholent. I eat Cholent as a religious devotion, not really necessarily because it's something I enjoy that much. And I might have different kavanas when I eat it and so forth, as some of the tzaddikim taught. But it's not really my favorite food. It's not something I would just eat. I would choose to eat if it weren't a devotion. But then the final reason that he brings why be Jewish is Torah, and that yes, there is a superior theology and a superior ideology and a superior apologetic to any other religion. And I say that unabashedly, that no other religion makes a claim that millions of people heard God and lived the way that we did at Mount Sinai. This is a story you could not make up. It's a historical fact. Just that there were more people that heard God say, "I'm the Lord thy God who took thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage," than whoever saw George Washington in his life. And so if we accept that George Washington was a real historical figure, we accept that God spoke to the Israelites at Mount Sinai. It's a historical fact. And that's different than with all due respect, and I love Christians, and I love Muslims, and I love Buddhists, and Hindus, and pagans, and all these different religions. I love these people. They're nice people. They're our friends. They're my co-workers. I work with them. But the truth is that and the theology of Islam I don't have a problem with, but their apologetics are very weak, and their ideology does not have the historical basis that our Torah has. With all due respect and with all love to my Muslim neighbors, co-workers, friends, brothers and sisters, or at least cousins. And the same thing with our Christian brothers and sisters, friends, cousins, so forth. Basically, what started Christianity. You could argue it's either the Pentecost, which is a pretty strong event, but it's not the same as Sinai of a whole nation. But really, it's more really the real beginning of Christianity that it separated from the Jewish community was Paul and his vision on the road to Damascus. I wonder why Bob Hope and Bing Crosby never did a movie, The Road to Damascus, or at least the Family Guy. Maybe they did. I haven't watched Family Guy in a long time, but because I know they like to make parodies of the road movies. But you could think, but anyway, that's the that's where Christianity really became a separate religion. And again, that event and some of the other visions that are claimed by the apostles were one person. You can't really prove or disprove. They might very well be, and they might not be. Who knows? And why does it matter? When God said it's something of the revelation at Sinai, So, pretty much that's the story. That's what we're dealing with here. So, that's why be Jewish. Don't be Jewish because your parents are Jewish. Don't be Jewish because you have a guilt trip about the Holocaust or something stupid like that. Be Jewish because the Torah is true. Because the Torah is the Word of God, and anyone could be Jewish. You don't have to be born Jewish. You could convert if you want. I don't believe in this whole Noahide movement. I think that would be like Muslims going around and telling people, "Why don't you become dhimmis?" It's a silly thing. It's not. It's not how. How things, generally would go, and so whatever it is. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you all later. Thank you for listening. And I don't mean to offend any of my Christian or Muslim or any other friends, because you believe the same thing about your own religion, or at least you should. And I support you in that. I'm very happy that this church militant guy, is strong in his faith. So that's the story. So thank you for. But I'm being honest about me. I'm not Jewish because of anything other than because I believe the Torah is true. And I believe that that's a historical fact. And if I was not born Jewish, I would convert. And I think, and that's the question every born Jew should ask themselves. If you found out tomorrow that you're not born Jewish, would you convert? It's a good question. No? All right, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. I think I should. See you later.